Leroy, it finally happened. After all this
What's up?
time we waited, we got, months of speculation and rumors and years of anticipation. The first family has been done in the MCU, and it was the best thing ever made, right?
Uh, I wouldn't say the best thing they've ever made. I think it's really good.
Okay.
I'll say this:
Well,
it's the best Fantastic Four movie that's ever been done.
I think Corman might beg to differ.
Well, he can eat a bag of dicks.
Are we? I mean, I guess we're not trying to get monetized. Fantastic. That's Leroy and Michael. This is the We Trying channel or Nerdy by Nature Productions. That's Leroy's
It do-
potty mouth.
it does say Office of Mischief, and I did not curse.
Yeah. Okay. Sure. Great. Yeah. We both saw the
Actually,
movie Fantastic Four.
I should have said you could have eaten them because I don't know who in the world would actually bring that up, thinking that was. But yeah, go ahead.
That was art, man. That was a cinema dell'arte.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hmm.
No, Fantastic Four is out. I
Yep.
think in the first weekend it did 118 domestically, 115 million domestically, something like that.
You didn't even pull it
Uh,
up.
no, I count on you for that. Uh,
That seems reckless. I
I
just said
mean,
back
yeah,
six first 30 seconds.
you did. You did indeed. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the box office is. I think it is considered okay so far. We'll have to see what the tail end of it is because it's only been
I'm
one
pulling it
week.
right now. Um, First step's 170 million. Um,
As of now, 170 million
Hold on.
because it didn't do
Uh,
170 day one or first week.
Opening 117.
Yeah, there we go.
Right now it's domestic is 142, international is 99 million, worldwide is 241. So that's with
Okay.
a week um, being released on July 25th. That's with a budget of roughly is it is it 200? Let's see what the budget is. But go ahead. But those are the numbers we got from Box Office Mojo.
No, I think the movie critically is like at an 87 right now, which is generally favorable.
Hmm.
Um, I am happy that both this and Superman are both generally favorable movies with an 80s in their Metacritic ratings and doing
Hmm.
pretty well at the box office because both Marvel and DC can eat. We can have good movies at both studios. I think that only makes competition better, make everybody want to do better. So I'm glad that nobody is necessarily tanking it or being horrible at it. But I enjoyed the movie. Um, I wasn't blown away by it, and I'm not saying that it needed to. That I definitely built up some expectation in my mind that, ooh, this is gonna do everything I wanted to do. I don't know that it did. I still don't know exactly what I wanted to do. I enjoyed the movie,
Hmm.
um, but I think Marvel being a victim of its own success, there is with every movie coming out, there's so much pressure for it to top it or tie it into the MCU or connect everything because they kind of trained us with that through the first few movies of these movies are going to be connected. And when you get a movie that isn't necessarily connected throughout the entire thing, you're kind of like, what's going on? But I enjoyed the movie overall.
Um, I I think this is the all jokes aside. I think this is the best representation of the first family outside of comics and cartoons. Um, I think the old school cartoons did a very good job of expressing who these characters are. I think Matt Shackman,
Mm-hmm.
um,
WandaVision.
excuse me, uh huh, um, did a very good job of following of presenting a movie in a trailer, or the trailer presented a movie, and that trailer and movie lived up to expectations, if that makes sense. In other words, they delivered what they promised. They delivered a Fantastic Four movie set in the 60s that captured the essence of a family of scientists who have who are celebrated as heroes and scientists. And I think we can get more into that. And I think we do this in I know you've said this before to reporters. Say dog, see dog. That's what this did, and I think that's a very when you look at some of these films when we're talking about comic book films, that seems like a very easy thing to do. But we've seen so many films just in the MCU promise something and not deliver, and I think this is a step in the right direction. Um, Now, I am one of those people who thinks Marvel. I think we have a revisionist history of those first early Marvel films. Phase one and two, I think we have a revisionist history that all of those films were great, and that all of these films do not live up to those expectations. And if you look at some of those early phase one movies, I think a lot of these movies that have come out recently surpass those. I think some of them missed the mark, even though I like them. This one was really good. I was really impressed with this. I thought the suits looked great. I thought the CGI looked good. I thought it fit that 60s aesthetic. I think that was to me a character in and of itself that it looked something. It looked like it was ripped from the 60s. It
It
had
looked
that
like the Jetsons to me,
yeah, but it
retro futuristic type thing.
well that's that remember that was the look of what they thought the future would look like
Yeah,
in the 60s. Like if you looked at that, that that Tomorrowland, the world's greatest fair, um, what's Incredibles,
hmm
all of that look. Um, I think this movie sets the bar for what we expected, and I think if they follow this, they Marvel's in good hands, in my opinion.
Were there any standouts to you in this in terms of like, oh, this person really stole the show, or people were like could have done more, or something like that?
Um, Hats off to Matt Shackman for pulling this off. I know that you talked about characters. I'm going to give a. I think he did a good job of directing and getting the best out of everybody, because I think even though this is a smaller cast than say like an Avengers and different personalities and all these huge personalities, I think this was a harder film to pull off. And I do think there were some. It wasn't as tight as some people think. Some people do not think that the performance was as tight. I think Vanessa Kirby showed why a lot of people believe that Sue Storm is one of the best characters created
hmm
and one of the most powerful characters. Vanessa Kirby stood out to me. I would also like to say the gentleman who played Galactus. Now he's been in a few things. I want to make sure I get his name right. Ralph Ineson. I
hmm
like. I thought he did a very good job, and I know it's not like hard to do the job, but I felt like he embodied what Galactus was to me. It had a very big Jack Kirby influence as far as like this that feel, and I thought like his delivery, even though he was a lot of CGI, was like this otherworldly entity that you
You
felt.
believed.
Yes, yes. Um, I really I he has a look to him, and but he always to me in every movie he looks different.
hmm
For those of you who remember, he was the general from The Creator. Did you ever watch The Creator?
I did not.
Ah, you're missing out. He was the general who was given Denzel's baby boy the orders, and the look he looked
It
like an
sells
old.
baby boy.
Yeah, that's what I said. Um, so if you go back and look at him, he looks like an old chiseled man, like some decrepit 70s Soviet general. And he like has this aura to it. And so like I really hats off to him. Um, and I think he was also in Chernobyl as well. But anyway, those are my two standouts.
Yeah, I would agree with you on both of those. I really think Vanessa Kirby was awesome. I know she's been in a bunch of stuff. I probably first saw her in the Mission Impossible movies. I know she'd done other stuff before. I saw her also in The Crown. I can't remember which one I saw first though. But yeah, I was when she was cast as Sue Storm, I was really excited about that because I just like, oh, Vanessa Kirby's going to get to have a little spotlight, and
Mhm.
she 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 stood out in Hobbs and Shaw, the movie that
I
we
was I
saw
was I, I
that
was about to
was
bring that
given
up.
in the trailer.
Yep,
Um,
she was the standout in Hobbs and Shaw.
yeah, so I was happy to see her get cast, and she was fantastic.
Yep,
Everything she did was awesome. Uh, I just like to watch her on screen, and she just came off so effortlessly,
yep.
interacting with everybody. She had the one person she really didn't. I feel like I didn't see a lot of interaction between was maybe between
Her and Ben.
her and yeah, her and Ben.
Uh huh.
Um, I don't know how true that is to comics. I'm guessing maybe just time wise, that relationship just didn't get as much time
Yeah.
in the movie. I'm guessing maybe a sequel to get more of that, and maybe in Avengers Doomsday we'll get more of that. But other than that, yeah, she was my biggest standout for sure.
I agree with you on that. I really I would have liked more time with them together, but
Yeah,
I felt like, and we can get in that when we get into spoilers because there's. I felt like they did a good job with the characters. I would have liked to have seen more interactions, kind of like her and Johnny more. And what I mean by
yeah,
more, I would have liked to seen like her reaction or Johnny talking about certain things that happen and her going to Johnny and Johnny being like, because I think they did a very good job of showing Johnny was a hothead, but also Johnny was a scientist as well. And
yeah,
he was
yeah.
like, they treated him like a kid brother, but I think they did a very good job of showing Johnny was like important and he really came through. Um,
He had some big scenes.
but that was one of the things. So I watch a guy. I don't know if you follow him on Instagram, and he's on Threads. And I got to meet him at the Heroes Con in Charlotte, the DA Experience.
Hmm.
He's people know him. He's from Baltimore. He's at the Baltimore Comic Con, and he has a couple of social media channels. And he talked about he felt like the relationship as a whole for Fantastic Four didn't hit for him, but each person like he thought Sue and um,
Re,
Reed, sorry, Sue and Reed's relationship was great. He thought, but then he was like, and each person had was good when they were paired with each other, but as a whole, it didn't work.
hmm,
And at first, I was like, I don't know if I. Then I thought about, it, I was like, okay, there's some truth to that. Um, but again, this is a hard movie to get. It is hard to pin these relationships down, and outside of the comics, and I when I said animation, that's the old school cartoons. I want to also throw in outside of the Incredibles, this is the best Fantastic Four movie because I still think the Incredibles were going for the Fantastic Four and they nailed it.
sure, yeah, I'd agree with
Just
that.
different, just in a different iteration, but I feel like they nailed it.
Yeah. Anything that didn't work for you for the movie, or was it kind of talking about the overall family dynamic between all four of them?
Um, Again, I nerd hat on. I know this is, and I'm quite sure people will try to. I would have liked to have seen some mention of Victor. Like they did a lot of like later, like showing the world stage and and
Bavaria.
yeah, not being there. We like there was all these little things like that, but nothing outward. I would have liked to seen more of how their world worked because let's set the scene. The Fantastic Four are the world's preeminent scientists. They were literally like what, and the Fantastic Four in this movie is what people who get online and like keyboard warrior what they think Elon Musk is. Let's be
Hmm.
honest. Like that's what they that's what they are. They solve world peace. They shared their technology. There's no more military. Like it was. I would have liked to have seen more of how they interacted with the world on that stage and how crime was still a thing until Reed was like, "Oh, I'm having a kid." Like how did you like? I would have liked to see more of that, but I understand
Sure.
you have. It's a lot. It's heavy lifting. So like again, that's just the comic book nerd in me who wanted to see how the world works. So again, I'm cool with a 4 hour Fantastic Four movie. That's not going to sell.
That's a lot. That's a long time to watch Fantastic Four.
So that's just me. But again, I'm again Office of Mischief over here. The nerd
Hmm.
is I could sit through that. Again, I like the 3 hour Batman movie.
Yeah, for me, I think what did work was the overall family dynamic. I did kind of like the family dynamic. I wish it could have been stronger, but I think just them working together and ripping off each other and getting on each other's nerves sometimes, I think all that worked. The thing that I really didn't care for was when they were trying to be a superhero movie.
Hmm.
It was like overall the movie is kind of a little slower paced than maybe some of the other more recent Marvel movies. Not saying it needs to be that, but I was kind of comparing it to that because this is what, like the 38th MCU movie now, 38, 37, something like that.
Hmm.
Um, so I kind of wish there was a little more action going on. I
Hmm.
think what they did was fun, but I kind of not bored, but I'm kind of like, okay, when are we getting to the next beat at the as like the third half of the final third of the movie kind of kicked in. I'm kind of like, all right, let's wrap this up so we can figure something out.
Yeah.
And that kind of stuck with me.
Um. So to if you had to rate it,
Hmm.
um, what would you get? What kind of rating would you give it?
Um, I'd give it 3 out of 5 clobbering times.
Okay.
Yeah, because I definitely liked it more than I didn't like it. I just and it's not even I didn't like it. I was like, it was good. I just wanted it to be bigger. But again, this is the intro movie for the Fantastic Four. Maybe the sequel will be what I want it to be. I don't know.
Hmm.
Oh, shout out to Mole Man, Paul Walter Hauser. I like that
Yeah.
guy. He's always fun in everything that he does.
Yeah.
And I wish we got to. I wish we would have seen John Malkovich being, was it the Red Guardian or whoever? No, not Red Guardian. Is it Red Guardian?
John Malkovich was in here.
Yeah, you didn't know?
I didn't see him.
Yeah, you no. That's what I'm saying. He shot stuff. His
I know
stuff
he was
got
in the
cut.
trailer. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
know. But
He
that's what I'm
he
saying.
shot
Like
stuff.
that. I get so sorry. I know he shot stuff. He's in the trailer.
I see what you're saying now.
That goes back to that all. I would have liked to have seen more of how the world worked, that kind of stuff, because
The
we
Red
did.
Ghost. Okay, sorry,
Yeah.
not the Red
Uh-huh.
Guardian, because that the other guy's Red Guardian. Yeah, Red Ghost. Got it.
Yeah. So I so we can move on to spoilers because there's a lot that I want to get to as far as and we
You
can't
didn't
get
rate
to
it.
that. Oh, I'm sorry. I would have given it a 4 out of 4.
4 out of 4
Uh,
or 4 out of 5.
4 to 5.
Okay.
Teleportation towers.
Okay. Cool.
I'd have given it 4 out of 5 teleportation towers. So yeah, there's a lot that I like that I want to get to the spoiler because I can't get to that without spoiling and why I
Gotcha.
like so much of this film. But there's some other things that I want to get to that I don't like the discourse around this.
Hmm.
And again, we have to get the spoilers. So yeah, we're 20 minutes in. I say go see it. I think it's top, at least top 10 movie of the year. I hadn't seen all the movies this year, but this is definitely up there. It's a very hopeful film. I think you will enjoy it. I think it asks some very interesting questions. Um, and yeah, finally, Marvel's
Cool.
first family.
Hmm. We don't have the orange background anymore, so we'll just go into spoilers.
Yeah, I thought we had a different background though. I thought we did change the
I
background.
think this was the background, and we never started with the white background. So
Oh,
if we
well, then
want,
switch it
we
to the
can
white
flip
one.
it this.
Yeah. So at least people know. Ah, you're right. Yeah, we are supposed to start with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Although the blue one does look better. So I'm gonna start
Hmm.
with when I talked about the discourse around this film. One, I thought Julia Garner does a very good job as a Silver Surfer. I thought the talk around her was unnecessary, and I think we as nerds have to learn to let some shit go. And that she is a Silver Surfer. The movie starts out with this is universe. Is it 698 or 898?
828,
828. Okay, yeah. So
because
the
of
it's
Jack Kirby's birthday.
yeah. So they start. Thank you for reminding me.
Hmm.
Which I thought was really cool, by the way.
Yeah, that was
Um,
I'd like. Oh,
yeah,
that's a cool little
that
reveal
is
at
cool.
the end.
Um, I think the discourse around the movie coming out and casting Pedro Pascal, I thought was just hate it once it comes out. We've said this many times. I think after the movie has come out, these think pieces, and again, I told you I'm calling out Polygon because I think this headline is fucking stupid, and I try not to curse. I know I said a bag of dicks, but this
Do you
Polygon,
have the curse?
I try not to curse in the beginning, that first minute,
Oh,
but
okay, got it.
I I said bag of dicks, but Polygon really should. Sorry, here's the article. The Fantastic Four are selfish parents, but that isn't the movie's main problem. And I'm like, the fuck? First of all, I only saw, and we talked about this. I only saw the first two trailers, and I tried not to analyze them too closely. We reviewed them. I did not realize a she had Franklin. So the
Yeah,
whole
I knew she was pregnant. I didn't know that the baby
yes,
was going to
and
be in
so
the movie. I don't think.
I thought that was great. I thought the whole like I knew she was pregnant. I thought that was cool. I didn't realize she had the baby. So that whole idea of her going into space pregnant, and then and then meeting Unicron, and then him saying I want the baby. I thought that was cool as hell. And the reason why I said
Hmm.
Unicron because I think they did a very good job of showing Galactus and how he works as a planet-eating entity.
Hmm.
Having that ship, I thought that was all cool. I think this idea of them being selfish parents is that's catnip for trolls. That they're trolling. Like the idea that they're selfish parents for not giving up their child, and then you're like, well, that's not the biggest problem. It's like the fuck, like that I cannot even begin to
So,
talk
did you
about how
read the whole article?
I did, and I still think
Okay.
like I think the criticism of them of saying, okay, I don't know. I think the criticism and the familiar relationships is the same thing that we talked about. And I think that's a fair criticism. But to say, so yes, the Fantastic Four are objectively selfish parents in the exact same way that countless other parents are selfish by instinct and necessity. As a father, guilty as charged here. What First Steps communicates less successfully is the experience of parenthood as character development rather than stakes raising external motivation. What? That's the stupidest shit I've heard today.
Why do you
Like,
say it's stupid?
because what they're equating is saying they're selfish parents because they didn't want to give their child over to a world destroying entity. That's just human. That's not being a parent. Like, people get on my nerves, but I wouldn't wish them to be absorbed and used as a goddamn battery for a world
You know,
eating.
there are no former coworkers you would want to be given to as a battery. Want them to turn into batteries?
Nah, because they wouldn't make good batteries.
Okay.
And I want their existence to end. I don't want to be well, there's a couple of them that I would like to be tortured. But no, like but that's just that's human nature. Like we wouldn't give up one of our own. Like that's like to me to center around their selfish parents, I think is a fallacy. I think the idea of saying, okay, maybe the familiar stuff and the parenting didn't work because that's a lot to do, and does Marvel have the nuance to pull off this ethical question? I think
Mhm.
that's a very good. But to say that they're selfish parents like that, I thought that was a dumb argument. And I feel like there's a lot of dumb arguments like that that people do not do a good job of forming to talk about the movie. They pick something and they like, and it's catchy, and it's something that you can say. You can say in the trailer, "Oh, they didn't give enough weight to them being parents." Okay, cool. Say that. But saying that they were selfish parents by the very nature, I but yeah, I that's the problem that I have. This idea of this toxic discourse, or saying that Reed Richards was a beta. Like, I don't know if you've seen that online. Like, this whole idea that he was being
Leroy, I'm not online
like,
like you, sir, for this very reason.
and so
My
like
my life is much happier because I'm not online like you are.
and so like it just really it really did sour the movie experience a little bit because of these conversations, reading these articles. When you're looking for people, and I think that's the biggest problem, when you're looking for people to share and have these conversations to enjoy this film, you run into these things. And I think that's the problem that these movies have and our discourse has, where we're not able to enjoy it without having these people have these conversations that are just frankly asinine.
I'm looking over the article now. Um,
Go ahead.
no, I'm kind of like I'm looking, just checking
Okay.
through it now. Yeah, no, I can kind of see what they're saying. The title definitely does seem to be kind of clickbaity because it seems like Jesse Hassinger, and I don't know Jesse Hassinger, um,
Bag of dicks
but
for him too.
is this a man or? Oh, he said he was a father, right? What
Yeah.
did they say?
I don't know how he
Was
identifies, but bag of dicks, I don't care. You know what?
okay,
Not a bag of dicks, bag of snakes. Bag. You know what? I'm
okay,
just not gonna say bag of dicks. I'm gonna say bag of snakes. I hope you go to open a nice Amazon package and it's snakes.
okay, cool. Like as I read the rest of the article, like okay, I can kind of see how these arguments are. I see what they're coming from and how they come to their conclusion. But it does kind of seem like maybe the title is a little clickbaity. Um,
Not just the title, just
I don't hate it as much. I don't feel like the article is necessarily clickbaity though.
I do believe centered around it, they're selfish parents. I think it's clickbaity. I think the idea that I think the idea of saying they're selfish instead of saying, is this an ethical question that should be pondered? I think those are two different things, and that's just my opinion. I think that you should be able to say, instead of calling the parent selfish, and say, is this question, would you be willing to sacrifice one person to save the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few? And that's the
Mhm.
question that this movie asks. Um, and I think that the film itself does a very good job of showing us what happens when you are beloved and what happens when people turn on you. And you could see that they had never really experienced that. They had never really experienced the whole idea of the whole world. Like, now,
Yeah, because
there.
everything they did was always right
Mhm.
in
Now,
that world.
I think it was dumb for you to even tell them. This is
Yeah,
like,
Reed, you'd be like you have to tell them what happened. You'd be like, nah, it didn't work out.
but here's another thing. And here's the thing that I think that
I don't think I think that's part of Reed though. Almost like yeah,
now you're getting.
you know what? Everything I say, I know what I'm talking about. So you guys are just gonna go with it too.
But here's
It's
the
like,
thing
well, Reed, maybe
that
not.
that's the argument that I think that they should have had in the article. Having the article argue that they didn't do a good job of showing the nuance that Reed is the smartest person in the world, and how Reed thinks does not come off as warm, inviting, or he doesn't do a good job of explaining his ideas. So he comes off as an oddball or an asshole or whatever you want to say. They did a good job of showing Vanessa Kirby reacting to that, but I don't think they did a good job of showing Reed Richards doing that, because you and I both were sitting there like, bruh, I know for a fact everybody else is like, what the like, because there was never the idea of why did you say that,
Mhm.
and I think that's a deficit of the writing and presenting the argument, because there was never like, because two things. One, Reed has never experienced the world coming for him like that. And he never thought about the fact of, if I tell people this, that they would in return react that way. And then the family being scientists once again saying, oh, if we say this, like we shouldn't have said this, or Reed,
Hmm.
you shouldn't have said this. Like there was never this idea of like, you just go thread it out there, like you didn't think this was a good like. I would have liked to have seen those type of conversations, and that's the thing that I wish the article had gotten to when I talked about Sue talking to Johnny about her frustrations with Reed. Like, can you believe that? And Johnny being like, well, you know how Reed is. Like, big brain doesn't. That's the stuff that I would like to have seen. The article does not go into that. And that's my biggest problem with the article. You're talking about selfish parents. That's not the issue. That's not the question. And so that's the problem that I had with this, that I had with the actual film, and why I couldn't get into it until we got to spoilers. That's what I would like to have seen more of, this
Hmm.
back and forth. Now, I do think they did a very good job of that conversation between Reed and Sue, where Reed says, we would never do it. And she's like, you thought about it. And he was like, it's
Yeah.
the logical choice.
Hmm.
That I loved. And that's what I would like to have seen more of Sue loving him despite his big brain, and realizing he's going to do these thought analysis. He's going to do that because he has to, but also recognizing that's not what I want to hear right now.
Hmm.
And I do that a lot too with me. You're now married. You're going to experience this a lot. Everything you think you shouldn't say.
Sure.
I have a problem with that.
Well, yeah, you don't have a filter, so that's why you're the office of mischief.
I do have a filter. Here's the thing. Imagine what I don't say.
Sure.
Imagine the things that I'm like, ooh, I shouldn't say that. Now imagine what those things are. But that's what I would have liked to have seen more of. And I'm glad that I did not watch more of the trailers, because I think the baby would have been given away and I would not have been as shocked as I was when they had the baby in space, because I thought that was a cool moment.
Hmm.
I thought that whole series was amazing.
Yeah, that was cool, especially when the Silver Surfer was kind of like almost T-1000, just chasing him
Oh
down
yeah.
with the whole liquid. I was like, oh, this is cool. Oh,
Oh
she's
yeah.
phasing into the ship. She's about to she
Son,
touching the baby. It was
son,
cool.
she could have cut the placenta. She could have cut
Yeah,
the
she
umbilical
was
cord.
there.
She was right there.
She was right there. I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
Do you think Galactus is one and done, or we're going to see Galactus again? Or
I would like to see more. But then again, that's because I would like to see,
Innocent?
I would like to see that, and I would like to see just, I because I want both of them to come back. I want to see Julie Garner come back. I would like to see more of that. Now that doesn't mean she has to come back. We could get Norrin Rad,
Hmm.
the more recognizable Silver Surfer, and Innocent can come back. But I really enjoyed that entire sequence. What did you think of now? Get back to the whole idea when you were like, when it took came time to be superheroes, that fell apart, because you have a very big problem with MCU movies that are good, but they don't do the superhero right. And this
Yeah,
seems to fall into that, your Black Panther analysis.
yeah. Maybe it's the pacing of it or something. I don't know, and I don't. Somebody smarter could better describe it. But sometimes the pacing when they're doing like the superhero antics when they're fighting the villain or when the big beam comes down or whatever, that kind of stuff. Sometimes in movies it doesn't work right for me. And this one it didn't feel right. I think I was more captivated by just the family drama of the first family
Yeah,
than them dealing with Galactus and all this stuff. I did wonder how they were going to get rid of him and how they were going to defeat him. Um, but I think I was more captivated by the family drama than them using their powers. A lot of times I think I wanted to see more of the powers being used. We didn't really see a lot of the stretching
we did
powers.
not. We did not.
I kind of wanted to see more of that. Um, I would like to see more of everybody. I think we got to see a lot of Sue's powers because she was such a big character and she push Galactus into the teleporter
Mhm.
or whatever. But yeah, seeing more of his powers, seeing Ben do some more stuff would have been cool, and just Johnny doing stuff. Honestly, I know it's a worse movie, but the Fantastic Four with Jessica Alba, we saw more of their powers.
Yeah, and I think that was
Maybe because they didn't
because
have a story, so like let's just show you the powers because
well,
we don't have a story that you would care about.
I think too they tried to tell a different story. I think they
True.
leaned more into the powers because they were telling that type of comic booky movie type thing, whereas this
Sure.
seemed to be more of a scene setting origin story, so to speak.
Yeah.
And I think they did a better job of doing. I don't. I don't want to say they did. I don't want to agree with you on this because I don't want to give those movies credit. But you are right. They did a better job of showing them assembled as the Fantastic Four and showing them being these superhero types. And I
Friends of
like
the
this.
show, cut that out and clip that, please. Thank you. That's all I
quite,
need.
I'm quite sure there's going to be quite a few people who are like, "Say no more, fam." Leroy, you're on the
Yeah.
loop. Saying Michael
Got
as
him.
well. Um, no, but I'll give you credit for that because that's something that I think we got in those films that we didn't get here. And I wonder if that, I think that's a stylistic choice of showing them as scientists and astronauts because I like the fact that Johnny was like, "Hey man, you can finish these suits," and Reed's like, "Oh, I had other stuff that I would needed to get to," and I like the idea of showing that, oh, Johnny wants to get back to space. That's where he is
Yeah.
comfortable. I liked that. I like seeing the '60s aesthetic and Reed. I and again, that's why I said I could have watched the 4 hour movie because I like the little parts where Sue was like, "I thought you were going to build a crib," and Reed's like, "Anybody could build a crib. I built this."
Yeah.
I like I
There's a
that
very good line that Pedro Pascal said about like he almost said it reverse. Like he doesn't think of ways to save people. He thinks of all the worst things and then figures out
yes.
how to almost reverse engineer from there, which I thought was interesting.
Well, see, here's the thing, and this is something that I really, and that's why I said I really liked these moments because I don't. For those of us who have read the comics, that's Reed Richards because he's the smartest guy in the world. He is looking at how do I he this is a different way and why him and Tony get along in the comics. Do you remember when Tony said, "I would love to put the world in a bubble,"
Hmm.
and he wanted to make that whole defense shield or
A
whatever,
suit of
and
armor around the world. Yeah.
and he made Ultron, and that's and I liked, and so this is what I want to see, and I wish we could have gotten this, and where a lot of people are like, I don't like that Robert Downey Jr. is going to be Doom, yada yada. I would like to see this because here's the thing: Tony is a genius. He's a futurist. Tony doesn't think about the real world implications of some of the stuff that he makes. He just makes it. And he
Hmm.
just does it because he can, because he has this need to do it. Reed thinks about this stuff. He contemplates and he tries, even though he can't, because he can't see the future. He attempts to mitigate the disasters of the things that he creates and see the future as altruistic as he can. And I
Hmm.
think and people are like, well, Reed could have hopped timelines and all this other stuff, and that's something that there's a discourse going on right now where Reed would have left this timeline and left this Earth to save his family. It's like, no, you're thinking of the Maker. The Maker is the evil Reed Richards, who is a when I say evil scientist. Lex Luthor looks tame compared to the Maker. The
Okay.
Maker is a evil. When I say the Maker is evil, per, personified, that is the Maker. Um, he's an evil Reed Richards. That's what you're thinking of. Reed Richards is an altruistic, great guy, great father, but he can be a bit of a dick because he is the smartest guy in the world. And he does not think like us. And I
Hmm.
think I liked seeing that side of him in these films, and I think that's something that has always been missing in a lot of these films, with the exception of, and I know you brought up one of the earlier Fantastic Four movies. I liked what Josh Trank was trying to do with the Fantastic Four, the Fox Fantastic Four. This whole
Hmm.
dark sci-fi. I still think those first two trailers that they did are some of the best trailers out there. I think the movies wholly missed their mark, but I think the
Yeah.
promise of those trailers of what he was trying to do, amazing. And I think that's something that we would need to see more of, given these characters interacting with the MCU on a whole. Now, that's my biggest question. How does this version of the Fantastic Four connect? Because I really thought the teleportation devices were going to create incursions. That's what I thought we were going to be left with, and we did not get that.
Yeah. And I thought, and they did a good job of this. I thought it would have been interesting if if the family had failed and their
Yes,
world got devoured, and so they transferred to somewhere else. I thought that would have been interesting. We didn't
I,
get
th-
that; they succeeded. But I
I,
wonder if that, with the post credits of seeing Doctor Doom looking at Franklin,
mhm,
I've seen something online that maybe he kidnaps the baby and then they follow him to the 626 or whatever
yeah.
our Earth line is, which I think would be interesting.
So I thought, and we talked about this. I thought this was going to end, maybe not with them failing. I thought that was one possibility. I thought that maybe they had succeeded, and I thought the teleportation, which they thought was going to push Galactus to the other side of the universe, outside of his ship, he would have miscalculated and pushed him to our reality
Hmm.
and our timeline. And so
Hmm.
then you basically just dropped Galactus on us. And now it's like and now you have to work with the MCU, and and so that's what I thought we were going for. I'm interested to see how this all fits together. It seems like they, and again, that's a video for another day. There's a lot of plot lines that have not been picked up, and whether it be the Eternals, whether it's the incursions with Doctor
Where
Strange.
where are the maternals at? They
I,
just flying through the space,
here's my question: where's the TVA? Because,
and we don't talk about them anymore. They were just in Loki. We don't worry about them anymore.
but I mean, I would like to know, like, is because this branch, I feel like this, like, I was really wondering, like, if the TVA was around, does this reality get, how does this reality still exist and not be pruned?
Hmm.
So I was really interested in that.
So the
Again, I
next
like the
Marvel
film.
movie is Spider Man in 2026.
Yep,
I think.
with
Dang,
the
that's a long
Punisher.
time.
Yep, Punisher's in that. I'm quite sure we're going to see some other uh, street level heroes. Um, but yeah, if this is the last MCU movie, I'm cool with that. I know it's not the last MCU property. We still have Eyes of Wakanda and Wonder Man coming out later on, but
Yeah.
I thought this was a very good, a solid film. I thought everybody brought their A game, and I will say this: um, I have never seen Pedro Pascal lose his woman, but man, I can see now how Pedro Pascal is about to lose Sue Storm to Namor.
Okay.
I see it now. Like she we're going through some postpartum.
Uh
My
huh.
man's gonna show up shirtless with them wings on his feet,
Yeah.
speaking sultry to her, and he go and Reed will be over there talking about, but Sue, I mean, no, I see it now. Yep,
Good to know. Good to know.
yep,
Yeah, that's it, man. We wrap this up.
yeah. I like I said, I was impressed. I really enjoyed it. I say go see both of them, Superman and this one.
Sure.
Um, but
No
I
need to
think,
go to war. Both.
yeah, I think again, I think these two movies showed up at the right time. They're very hopeful. Um, I think this gives us a window to what's coming next in the MCU. What that is, I don't know, but I really enjoyed it.
All right. Folks, that'll do it for us. Let us know what you thought of this movie. Are you excited to see it? Have you seen it? Did you see this and Superman? Let us know your thoughts on both of them. We have a review up for Superman on the YouTube channel right now.
Yep.
Click on that bell so you know we put up more videos. Maybe we'll get more consistent. Maybe we won't. I don't know. Leroy did come back from a trip, so maybe we'll do a video about that. I don't know if he took photos or not.
Not really. I mean, I did. My wife did. I mean,
Okay, fantastic.
we'll talk about it because yeah. This was a wild trip. I don't recommend uh, taking a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old on a internationally if you don't have the temperament for it.
Okay. Will that be a video? Will that be a live reaction video? Who knows? We'll find out. Stay tuned for more. That's Leroy and Michael. We
Yep.
Trying channel. Nerd by nature. We out.
Deuces.